Hey, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode on my channel. Today, I am going to be doing all the books that I would like to read in 2024. I have divided them into 6 groups. I have classics, standalones, series that I need to finish, new series, and books I don't own, and new releases, and also rereads. So, without further ado, let's get started because there are quite a few. So, first off on my list, I have Winnie the Pooh. For the main fact of I think it would be fun to read it this year where the copyright has just been given up. So, I have Winnie the Pooh. Then I have The Happy Prince and Other Happy Stories by Oscar Wilde. And I think this is just a bunch of fairy tales. 9 magical and haunting fairy tales. So I have that. And then I also have The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Then I have 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. I also have The Wizard of Oz, which I would just like to read this year. It's pretty short, 70-some pages, so I have that. Then I have kind of like a childhood classic, not actually a classic, but it is the BFG by Roald Dahl. This really didn't have any other spot to go unless I wanted it in standalones, I guess. But I don't want this on my shelf anymore. I would like to read it, so I have that. Then I have the 2 big collections of books. I have Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales, which I would like to read in another video. I think this would be a fun book to read in that. But there are so many. I think there's like... Here, let's actually find out how many there are. 211 stories in this book, so I'm actually looking forward to reading it. So I have that. And then I also, with another video that I have planned, the complete novels of Jane Austen. This book has Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, Emma, Northanger Abbey, and Persuasion. And this book is beautiful. It has gold edges. I actually love this book, so I would like to read that. So that's the classics. Now we have all of the standalones. Now there are a lot of standalones. So let's just get started. So I want to do a video this year of reading, like, I guess they're called cult classic books that have been turned into movies. So I have The Devil Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger. And I also have Confessions of a Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella. So these will be fun books to read. These are the mass paperback editions, which will be fun to hold. But, yeah, I have those 2. Then I have Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This will be in a video that should be published on Valentine's Day. But I have Betting on You. And another book that will be in that video is The Do-Over, also by Lynn Painter. The only book I've read by her is Better Than the Movies, and I'm only going to read her young adult ones, but I do have The Do-Over as well. Then I have Four Dead Queens, which is a fantasy standalone. This is by Astrid Schultz. I love fantasy, and the fact that this was a standalone makes me very, very excited to read it. And then I have Journey to the Hopeless Star, another fantasy. This, like, it's a pretty large book, but it's thin. It's only about 150 pages, I think. 200-some pages. So it shouldn't take me too long to read, but I do have that book. Then I have Cinder and Glass by Melissa De La Cruz, because I've actually been wanting to try out her writing because all her books seem very, very interesting. I figured this was on Book Outlet for super cheap, so I figured I would buy it and test out if I like her writing style. Then I want to read Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I just think this book is going to be really cool. Also, it has sprayed edges, I have very few books that actually have sprayed edges, and that's just really cool to me, so I have that. And then I have had this book for a year and a half, I think, maybe a full year, but it's The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which I first read in grade 6, and I never finished it, so I would like to finish this book. And then I have The Orphan's Wish by Melanie Dickerson, and this is an Aladdin retelling, so I would like to read this book, as you could tell by the fact these are all the books that I would like to read. Then I have Dear Evan Hansen, because apparently the movie's really bad, but the book and the musical are really good. But this is based off of the musical, not the musical based off of this. And that's why I'm putting it off reading, so I don't know if I'll actually get to this year, but I will try. Then I have Forging Silver into Stars, and the tagline up top says, 4 royals, 2 thrones, 1 deadly curse. And I don't know, it just makes me really excited. And I've actually been wanting to read her trilogy, A Curse of Dark and Lonely, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And this is a standalone, I think, so it'll give me a taste of her writing, which makes me excited. So I have that. Then I have Kingdom of Ash and Briars by Hannah West, which I actually found at the $6 hardcover section. But it's a retelling of Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Jane Austen's Emma, and Mulan. And I don't know, that just makes me kind of excited to try that out. Then I have The Kingdom of the Back, which is a historical fiction. And I really don't read historical fiction, but the tagline is, I am the sister, the other Mozart, and her story is mine. And I don't actually know that much what it's about, but I'm excited to read it nonetheless. And this is by the author who wrote Legend, which I would like to read, but I think I'm going to wait till 2025 to read it, because I have enough series that I want to get myself into. And then the last standalone is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, which is a Little Mermaid retelling, and I'm very, very excited to read this book. The next group I have is finishing series, because I normally finish series once I've read them, but I didn't for some of these, so yeah. So last year, actually, one of the last books I read, was Queen of Shadows. So I would like to finish this series this year by reading Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, this tandem read, which I've already started, so we'll see if I can finish them, but I'd like to. And then I have Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. But I would also like to say that I read a almost 1,000-page book. And then one of the series I've actually been reading since middle school is the Invisible Emmy series, and or elementary school? I don't know, but they just keep coming out. And I got this for free off of Book Outlet with a code, and I just figured I'd get it because these are really quick reads. And I'm planning on doing a reading a book for every color of the rainbow, and I figured this would be a good one for orange since it's very bright, and I need some shorter books to get me through because of how thick most books are. So, surprisingly, Sarah. And then also Rune and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, just because I'm making my way through this series, but the only reason I'm reading it is because I desperately want to read Six of Crows. So I will have that. So those are all the finishing series. Okay, so now for the biggest stack. This had to actually be 2 stacks because of how big these were. So the first book is These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. Now, I'm filming this technically the day this comes out, actually. So I have read this book already, and I loved it. I highly, highly recommend this book. It was 5 stars, which is rare. First book of the year, 5 stars, but I do have that. And I've also already read These Twisted Bonds, also by Lexi Ryan. And I highly, highly recommend these 2 books, but I'm still putting them in this video because it is all the books I want and wanted to read. So, they are included, although I have technically already read them. But I do highly recommend these 2 books. Then I want to read the Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom duology. Or I guess it's the Six of Crows duology. And the reason why is because I've heard so much good stuff about these books, and I got a whole box set with these 2 and the Shadow and Bone books for like $30. So I figured that would be a good time to purchase them all. So I'm looking forward to reading that. Then I have Twin Crowns by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Weber. And I'm honestly so excited. I think it'll be a really, really good book. And I think it's a duology. But it might be a trilogy. Oh, I think it is a trilogy. But I do want to read Twin Crowns and also Cursed Crowns. Oh, it is. Okay, I have to add a book to this list. 1 second. But yeah, Cursed Crowns as well. But I'm very excited for this series. And next we have, this is the very big stack. We have Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So this one is The Lightning Thief, and I actually had my friend read this before me, and she loved it, and I trust her book taste so much. Like, I can almost guarantee that this book will be a 5 stars. So I have Percy Jackson. I also have The Sea of Monsters, which is the 2nd book in the Olympians. And then I have The Titan's Curse, which is the 3rd book in the Olympians, which I'm actually letting my friend borrow next time I see her. And then I have The Battle of the Labyrinth, which is the 4th book. And Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Last Olympian. And this is the 5th and final book in the Olympian series. And if I like those 5, then I'll probably continue with that world. So after the Percy Jackson series, I guess they're kind of standalones, but I don't know if they're in a series or not. But they're like retellings of books of the Bible. This one is A Crown of Chains, which is a Esther retelling. And this says, becoming queen is not the end of a fairy tale, it is the beginning of a nightmare. So, I love the book of Esther, so I'm actually really looking forward to this book. I think it's almost 500 pages. It is. So I have that book. And then I also have A Bond of Briars, also by Aaron Phillips. And this is a Ruth retelling. And Ruth is my absolute favorite book of the Bible. And I think when this comes out in paperback, I will probably also be purchasing it, so it matches this exactly. I love Ruth, so I'm looking forward. This cover isn't super... It's kind of off-centered, which is kind of bothersome. But I don't care. I'm so excited to read this. And then the thing on the back says, there is nothing so ruined that it can't be restored, and no one so wrecked that they can't be redeemed. And I am very, very, very excited to read this book. And then I have The Chronicles of Elira. This is Once I Knew, which is a romantasy, I think. A slow burn, like, fantasy, enemies to lovers, slow burn. I'm pumped for it. I think it's enemies to lovers. And I have both. I got this one for Christmas because I asked for it, so I wouldn't have to wait. Because these you can't get in a bookstore, I'd have to wait and order them online. But this is This Life of Mine, which is the sequel to Once I Knew. And I'm very excited to read this book as well. And then I have The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. And I love her writing because of how quickly paced it goes. I think this will be in a video, but I'm not 100% sure. But I do have The Shadows Between Us. And then I have the Selection series, which I've been wanting to read. I actually picked this up with a bunch of gift cards after Christmas. So I got the Selection by Kiera Cass. I have The Elite by Kiera Cass. I have The One by Kiera Cass. So I have original trilogy that I'm very looking forward to reading. And then we have the novella, which is called Happily Ever After, which I would like to read after those three. And then I have The Heir, also by Kiera Cass, which this one is, I think, her daughter, which makes me very excited. And also The Crown, which is the last book. So I got this all in a box set, and I'm very looking forward to reading them, and I will be reading them probably in a video and very soon. And then I have Bookish and the Beast, which is a Once Upon a Con series by Ashley Poston. Now, she has this series, which is young adult, and I'm very much looking forward. But this is obviously a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but she also has a Cinderella one, which is called Geekerella. You will see this in a haul video that will be coming out soon, but yeah, I do have this book, which you will see in a video. And then I have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I'm very excited to read this. Enemies to lovers with writing, like magical aspects. That makes me so excited to read this book, so I will be reading that very fast. And then I have Love and Gelato. This is by Jenna Evans Welch. But I would like to read it. It's just a cute little romance book. But yeah, and then there's also Love and Olives and Love and Luck. So if I like this book and I like her writing style, I'll probably continue on with the series. And then I have Beastly by Alex Finn. I hate this cover so much. Absolutely hate it. But this is going to be in a video, I think, because I've been planning on doing a fairy tale retelling video, so that will be in there, most likely. And then I let my brother pick out a book for me to read this year. And by let, I mean he came into my room and said, "Here you go," and gave me the book from my own shelf. But this is, the name of this book is Secret, which is the Secret series. And I will not be continuing this series. I can almost guarantee that. But that's fine. And I got this for $1, so if I don't know. The plot just seemed strange, so I decided I would read it. Then I have Matched by Ali Condi, and the reason why I'm reading this is because up here, which you can't see, I have all kinds of book series from this time period. I have Twilight, The Hunger Games, Divergent, and then also Matched will be up there. I also need to get Reached in paperback, but I do have Matched and Crossed, and I will be buying Reached soon, but I don't know, I'm very excited for these two books. And also it says the biggest young adult title to hit bookstores since The Hunger Games, and that makes me really excited to read these books. And then the last series that I have never read is Let the Sky Fall by Sharon Messenger. I'm very, very, very excited to read this book because Shannon Messenger is one of my two favorite authors of all time, like an instant buy. And I want to read all her books from the past, which is literally just this series. This is her only young adult series. So this is Let the Sky Fall and also Let the Storm Break. And then there's a third one called Let the Wind Rise. And I'm pumped to read these 3 books. And I'm going to try to get to them this year. So then we'll do rereads. I have Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. I loved this book so much. I read it January, that I needed to buy my own copy of this book. So I have that. And I also have Daughter of the Siren Queen, but also by Trisha Levenseller. I love this author. Her stories start very, very quickly and off with a bang, which makes me excited. So yeah, you will catch me rereading these books this year. And also, this was the last book of 2023. This was the last book I read of 2023, which is Vengeance of the Pirate Queen, with the literal coolest sprayed edges. And you will, yeah, I'm so excited to read those books again. Technically, I don't have to reread this. I read it a week ago, but I don't care. I will be rereading that. It was really, really, really good. And then I have The Stolen Heir, and I will be rereading this book for technically a video, I guess. I'll be rereading it, but I'm very, very excited because I was in a book slump when I read it the first time, so I don't think it came off the same, and I would like to retry it when I'm not in a book slump, so I'll be doing that. And then I will be rereading, The Cruel Prince. I told myself I was going to reread this series anyway, and I like it because it's not a very long series. I could probably knock it out in like a week or two, this whole series, and that makes me excited. So I'll be reading The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing, and you can probably catch a video of me doing this. Probably when I do it this time, it'll be with spoilers, though. I'll have one with and one without. And then I also will be rereading The King of Elfhame, which normally when I am craving an Elfhame novel, I go to this just because. Okay, so the rest of the video cut out, as strange as that is, that actually did happen. So I'm going to show you the books that were otherwise after how the King of Elfhame learned to hate stories. So I have Keeper of the Lost Cities, Exile, Everblaze, Neverseen, Lodestar, Nightfall, Flashback, Legacy, which my friend's currently borrowing, Unlocked, which is a collection and then also a novella at the end, and also Stellar Loon. And Stellar Loon, which is the 9th book that I want to reread because I was in a book slump the first time I read it, and I want to experience it for how I should. So I have that also. Those are all the books that I own, and the ones that I don't, that I want to read, is Keeper Book 10, which is why I'm rereading all of them, not just the 9th one. Nothing Like the Movies, which is the guy's point of view from Better Than the Movies, and I'm very, very, very excited for that. The Prisoner's Throne, which is the sequel to The Stolen Heir, which is an Oak's point of view. So then I have Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad of Never After, and A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber because I read Caraval and loved it, so I'm very looking forward to that. Then I have Heartless by Marissa Meyer because I'm very interested in reading a Marissa Meyer book, but I don't want to get into a giant series right now. The Brothers Hawthorne and The Grandest Game because I read the Inheritance Games trilogy in 2023, and I'm interested in finishing that series and having a little dip into that world again without rereading that whole series. Burning Crowns because, as we learned in this video, that is part of a trilogy. And then also Teeth, Ironside, and Valiant, which is the modern fairy tales, I think, which is in the world of Elfhame, just in another court. So those are all the books that I want to read this year. I'm very excited about them, and we'll see how it goes, and how many I actually get done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.